Did you think of any questions for before this episode?
Nope.
Did you really try?
Yeah, and that's what counts.
Do you really believe that?
I mean, that's what teachers tell kids at school.
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig, and this week we're finishing up our group of 4 horror movies that are based on some sort of phobia.
Yes, indeed.
We started with Fall for people afraid of heights.
For us.
We did
went to
for snakes.
We did
Arachnophobia for arachnophobia.
And this week, we're doing a movie from 2010 called Buried.
And it's for claustrophobic people to be scared of. And while it didn't scare me for that reason, I certainly think in the actual situation I would be. But unlike Fall, where I wasn't really up high, it still freaked me out. This didn't have me like feeling claustrophobic, at least. I'll give it that. Or like arachnophobia making you actually afraid of...
Spiders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the premise. There's a guy buried underground, and he would like to get out.
Wow.
And
Yes.
no, Ryan Reynolds plays a character who is in Iraq, his convoy gets attacked, he gets buried alive, and he has a cell phone to contact people to try to get $5 million money.
5 million.
That's what
money.
they said. And if he does not get $5 million money, he does not get undug.
Yes.
Dug up. Yeah.
Yep.
And the people he's calling, a lot of them are obnoxious jerks.
Oh, and he's got like a little bag of goodies.
Yeah, he does have things so he can see what he's doing, like lighter and...
Flashlight, a couple of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's basically the premise, and why don't we throw it to a trailer and show you what we're talking about.
Buried in a coffin in the ground.
You have to help me. You have to help me. I can't breathe.
How did you end up in the coffin, sir?
My convoy was ambushed.
I got hit in the head. I blacked out, and that's the last thing I remember. I'm being held for ransom. I need $5 million. Brought me left to die here.
Okay, Mr. Conroy.
Wait, hold on. Wait. I need to know my name. What's going on right now?
Where is money?
I need more time.
I'm begging you.
Let me out of here, and I promise you I will get you the money. No.
All right. So, is there anything else you want to say about said movie? Like,
I mean, before we go into all
behind the
this
scenes,
stuff,
yeah.
go watch it.
I mean, definitely watch it. If you get claustrophobic, I can see this not
Really
being
freaking
pleasant.
you out. So, like,
Not being pleasant at all.
watch it with the lights off.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Or watch it on your phone in a coffin.
Yeah. Yes.
No, that would bother me.
The best way to watch this movie is if you're underground.
Sure. Dummy. But before we get into the behind the scenes stuff, we're going to have to throw it to commercials because, as I like to explain, we don't really do this for any reason other than making money. Because we make all this money doing local TV for free. And how do we do that, you wonder? Well, we advertise for real products that actually exist. And they pay us actual money.
Actual fat stacks of cash.
Absolutely. And this week, they backed up a Brinks truck full of pennies. Just a ton of them. Literally 1 ton of pennies. We're going to sell it for the copper. It's worth more. Anyway. No. No.
Okay.
And what we're advertising this week anyway is, let's see. Gory Story Time is brought to you by Scaredy Pat action figures and play sets. Most toy lines have dozens of figures and a couple of play sets, but Scaredy Pat is different. We have only one figure. Meet Scaredy Pat, a man afraid of everything. Each playset puts him in a different phobia-inducing situation. Some playsets include the Public Speaking Convention Hall, the Pit of Snakes, the Circus Clown Showdown, with more coming soon. Scaredy Pat action figures and playsets. The only thing to fear is everything.
And by Dirt Cereal, the chocolate cereal that is all crushed into a dirt-like powder. Everyone knows the best part of a bowl of cereal is drinking the cereal milk. We make this process much faster and easier. Scoop some dirt cereal into your bowl with our shovel-shaped spoon. Add milk and stir. It's that easy. Dirt cereal from the makers of sugar-coated corn and Bolo Diabetes.
All right. Now, let's get into the...
meat and beef of the show.
There we go. See, you don't usually say it lately. You should, since it's your thing to say. That's what we call the behind the scenes for those who don't know. And if there's only like 5 people that watch on a regular basis, and they've heard this, but for anyone that happens to stumble across it, he meant to say meat and potatoes, and ended up saying meat and beef, and it kind of stuck.
It's better for you.
Sure, especially if you're like on Atkins or no sugar, no grain, something like that. Let's see. Right, you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds stated that he suffered from claustrophobia towards the end of filming, much like the character he is playing. This was mainly due to the fact that the coffin he was in was gradually filled with more and more sand as filming went on. He describes the last day of shooting as unlike anything I experienced in my life, and I never ever want to experience that again.
It was shot in sequence in 17 days in a Barcelona studio.
The phone number of the Chicago FBI field office mentioned in the movie is the number of the office in real life.
I don't suggest calling there and doing anything stupid because it's the FBI. They'll know who's calling.
Wow. There's that.
When Paul Conroy, Ryan Reynolds' character, opens up the note his kidnapper wants him to read on video, the first line is, "The date is 23 October. This is Ryan Reynolds' birthday."
Ryan Reynolds was the first and only choice to play Paul Conroy.
7 coffins were used in this movie.
Samantha Mathis, who played Paul Conroy's wife, previously starred in a film where she was buried alive called 83 Hours Till Dawn.
The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2009 Blacklist, a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year.
Alfred Hitchcock films Rope and Lifeboat were an inspiration of Rodrigo Cortez when making Buried.
Ryan Reynolds later mocked the events of this film. Remember when I said, "Grab me the water"?
Yeah, I remember when I wanted to
Didn't
grab
do
mine
it?
too. Yeah.
But now I have a cough, and it won't go away because I need a sip of water.
Well,
Appreciate that.
anytime.
Anyway, Ryan Reynolds later mocked the events of this film with his critically acclaimed Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
Ryan Reynolds accidentally burnt his arm from using the lighter.
The note Paul finds in the coffin reads, "The day is 23rd October. I am Paul Conroy. I live in Hastings, Michigan, America. I am kidnapped in Iraq, buried and ground. Send 5 million money US by 9 hours night, or I will be die. People will call you with place money needs be help. To be fair, it was written by someone who doesn't speak a lot of English, so they did pretty good because you know what they're saying.
Paul Conroy is leaving a message for his family after all hope seems to be lost. He gives his social security number and birthday as 3/23/76. Other than the month, the day and year are correct. His real birthday is 10/23/76.
Pamela Ludi, played by Ivana Mino, is the only character other than Paul Conroy to appear on screen during a video call.
The song "In the Lap of the Mountain" was created in the last 24 hours before closing the sound mixing of the movie. The intended song was "Beyond the Horizon" performed by Bob Dylan, but the rights were too expensive. Then they tried also with "Beyond the Horizon" performed by Lou Christie, but again the rights were too expensive because the record label holding the rights sent the price so late and the production could not afford it. They decided to create the song. They ended up recording and mixing it from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. on the last day of sound mixing. The lyrics are from the director of the movie, who also can be heard as part of the choir vocals.
Ryan Reynolds and Eric Palladino starred together in Finder's Fee.
Ryan Reynolds was, just for a moment, actually buried in the shooting of the film's climactic moments. The production crew had a team of paramedics waiting on standby.
Ryan Reynolds is the only person we see in the flesh. All other performances are voiceovers or the one recorded on his cell phone. The whole film is shot from the interior of the coffin. We never see the outside world. The film never repeats a single shot. These all make Buried one of the most minimalist films ever made.
The government agent that is attempting to save Paul Conroy is asked how many people have made it out of this situation alive. The agent states that there were 2 others who made it home alive, one being a man named Mark White. But when the agent thinks he and his team are about to save Conroy, he states that they have actually opened the coffin containing a dead Mark White. This makes the agent's story a lie and hints that no one has actually been successfully rescued.
Well, spoiler alert, the movie never leaves the coffin. He does receive images and videos from his captors from unknown locations. He also hallucinates, seeing the coffin lid opening at one point, though nothing is shown but a bright light. There are no flashbacks or cutaways showing anything other than what's happening inside the coffin. And a lot of times it just goes black.
Yep.
So, knowing that,
There is a website that goes by the name Rotten Tomatoes.
yes, and Rotten Tomatoes takes all the people who review movies,
Yep.
all the official movie reviewing
Yep.
folk, and then if they just break it down into positive or negative review,
Yep.
and then then they give you the percentage of positive reviews. That's the number that they give. They don't make up a number. Like, I know I say this every week, but it annoys me when people are like, I hate Rotten Tomatoes. They gave this movie blah, blah, blah percent. It's like, they didn't give it.
Nope.
That's the percentage of people who liked it.
Yep.
Speaking of people, they also have a section where you can select.
Yes.
We, unfortunately, are not reviewers that they accept as official reviewers, but he has gone in and liked movies and rated them thumbs up, thumbs down, blah, blah, blah.
I have.
Just today you did one,
I did.
but we'll get into that movie another time.
We will.
So what do the critics say about this movie?
The critics have it at a 87%.
Pretty good percentage of positive reviews. The people who usually are closer to accurate than the critics, because if it's an action, if it's a horror, if it's not politically motivated, if it's a comedy, a lot of these things get lower reviews from, film snobs. But in this case, the people have it lower at 65.
Indeed.
Now, what was your least favorite part of this movie? Because I know you liked it. So
Least favorite
I
part
try to go with the
is
one that's harder.
probably. I mean, it's technically not something in the movie, but the fact that there wasn't a before, like I wanted to see he got kidnapped and put down there.
Okay, but you know that.
Right, but I wanted to see it.
Yeah. I think it makes it more minimalist. I mean, they didn't
Obviously.
have the money to like.
Have the explosions
Yeah.
and the shooting and the.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I totally get it. I mean, that's how Saw was written. Was like, okay, we have one room. We don't have to leave for most of it.
We got 4 actors.
Yeah, basically, same kind of thing here. I will say my least favorite thing, and I'll try to say it without a spoiler. The very ending, I was not happy with. That's without ruining it. That's all I can really say. The way that, the thing that happens right before the credits, I didn't care for. And it's kind of had spoilery stuff happen in the facts, but I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah.
And
My favorite part.
yeah,
I mean, probably just the fact that, like, I was introduced to this movie via an article that told me that it didn't have Ryan Reynolds being all Ryan Reynolds all over it.
funny.
And that wasn't true.
There was a little bit of humor,
There
but
was,
it was
more than I expected.
There was very little. Most of it was frustration and
Which can be funny when you're not the one being frustrated.
yeah, it wasn't intended to be funny. It was trying to show his desperation. So the fact that you laughed at it makes you a sick puppy. Anyway, my favorite part was probably the fact that they did an entire movie that takes place inside a coffin, and at no point was I like, I'm done, I'm out.
I'll turn this off now.
Like 90 minutes of it, it's kind of like the phone booth movie where most of it took place in a phone booth.
and when
it's
it
like-
didn't, it was on that block. Like,
Right. But this did it even more minimalist than that. And the fact that they kept it engaging, to me, is the big thing.
yeah, definitely.
Because it very easily could have
And
been
it shows
like,
acting chops
boring.
because you got to be good at acting to sell a 90-minute movie where it's just you and a small
well, the
light
story
in your
has to be
face.
good too. Story has to be good too. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10,
Yes. I'm going to give this movie a 9.
really?
Yeah.
Would you like to expound on that?
I mean,
Expand on that?
there's not very much in this movie that I did not like. I didn't prefer the ending, but I'm not mad at the ending.
Says the guy who's mad at very similar stuff on a show we're watching, but I'm not
Yes,
gonna.
well-
Again, I'm not gonna say and spoil things for anybody. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. It's good. It's a solid watch. It's not like a 9 for me would be something I'd want to go back to a bunch. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again.
I think I would.
If someone hadn't seen it and I know that like they were claustrophobic and wanted to be scared, I would watch it with them. But like outside of like those parameters, I don't really see any need to rewatch. Like I like owning a lot of physical copies of stuff. I don't need this one.
I do. Well, those are the 7.5
7.5, yeah.
and 9.
All right. But that's still a positive review. Like definitely watch it, but like
Yeah.
Like I don't see a lot of people going back to this as one of their favorites. It's not a classic in that way, and there are better movies that you've given less.
Oh, maybe.
But anyway, over to the side.
There it is. You can watch this show on Fact TV channel 1076, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on Facebook, and when I say like us, I not only mean Gory Storytime. I just posted a fake poster that I created.
Yep.
And I sometimes remember to post links to the episodes.
Wouldn't that be cool?
I probably should start doing that more. Let's see. But yeah, also Fact TV. They live stream stuff, and they have a bunch of different content. So, like them too.
Heck, you could be watching this live right now. You can go to fact8.com and watch a bunch of the back episodes of this and many other pieces of entertainment that they have made over the many, many years.
You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
I am at Jiggly Firm Brain. I only tweet things that I find amusing that he says in or out of context, usually out.
And check out my YouTube page. Just search for Gory Storytime. It should pop up. I changed the official name of the page to that. It hadn't been for a long time, but it is now. But it'll also bring you to the page for Fact TV. So like and subscribe both. You know. Smash that notification bell and all that good stuff that they say for people that, are YouTubers. Yeah?
Yeah. And until next week, with not a fear-related movie.
No, we're probably going to do a couple Christmas movies back-to-back. Christmas horror or Christmas-related horror-related things. We'll explain what I mean by that more next week.
We will. And until next time, I've been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.